I know, yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, this Historic Preservation Commission meeting is being held on October 21st, 2025 at 7 p.m. Statement of adequate notice. Pursuant to the Sunshine Law, adequate notice in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-6 was provided on January 28th, 2025 of this meeting's date, time, and place. The agenda was mailed to the Cranberry Press and Home News Tribune, posted on the Township Bulletin Board, and mailed to those requesting personal notice and filed with the municipal clerk. Roll call and volunteer hours, please. Ms. Sutmeyer?
Here,
That looks like how many?
that's mine, right? 16.
Okay, 16. Ms. Ryan?
Here, 2.5.
2. Mr. Geyer?
Here, 2.
Mr. Hull?
Here, 5.
Ms. Marlowe?
Here, 2.
Mr. Sabo is out. Ms. Villarini?
Here, 1.
And Mr. Christopher is here. Ms. Young is not here. And we have a quorum, Chair.
Okay, great. All right, so we will begin with our application for 19 Maplewood Avenue. I actually spoke with the homeowners, and they're not able to attend this evening because they have a conflict. But basically, they are interested in putting in a privacy fence in their backyard. The reason is for privacy. It's not like for a dog or anything, but it's for privacy. And they are proposing a white vinyl solid fence in their backyard. It has gone through zoning. Zoning approved it with the sort of heads up that in the historic district, you're supposed to use wood, but it needs to get reviewed by HPC. So the one thing that I discussed with them is that they are, after working back and forth with zoning officer, they broke up the fence and they want to put it just in the back. So they believe it will not be visible from the street. I personally did a drive-by, and I'm pretty sure you can't see it from the front, from Maplewood. The only thing I wouldn't know, and it's hard for me to know because it's not there, is if you're driving through that parking lot, if you could see it if leaves came down or something. And so that is something, I guess, for us to discuss.
So just for clarification, they just want to put it on that short section along the back property line?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Hi.
Just there?
Just there, yeah.
Yeah.
They're looking to have a little bit of privacy from their neighbor's backyard.
Just this section right here. This little-
Yeah.
the slash.
Yeah, there's no attempt to hide the parking lot.
No. No, the issue they described was issues with wanting privacy from the neighbors in the back.
It's a pretty good hedge line, isn't it?
Yeah.
Against the
That
parking lot.
parking lot's got pretty,
Yeah.
I don't know.
But it's
what
tree.
Yeah,
but
it's pretty
it-
thick.
But it's pretty thick.
It's pretty thick. I mean, the only thing I couldn't tell is like, given that this thing is bright white, would you be able to see it through the hedge? I don't know.
See it from the parking lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could possibly see it from the parking lot. I also looked around. I saw most people do like an unstained plain wood fence, but that's usually what I can see from the street as well. So I don't know what's back behind some of these other houses on Main Street.
Any white would look nicer with the house. Than a stained wood fence. And it's such a small amount. Very hard to hit.
Personally, I don't have a problem with it. Okay, good. Since it's in such a kind of unnoticeable area.
Any other comments, folks?
It looks like there's,
Questions?
well, it looks like there's a lot of shrubs around the area, and I kind of asking if it's back there, just that little section, I think it'd be a problem.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the only thing, could the shrubs be not as transparent? Let's just say worst case scenario, if the shrubs were less transparent. Let's assume that, like, that we had a bad year, all the leaves came off the trees or whatever, they all died. You still wouldn't see it from Maplewood. You may see it through the parking
Through the
lot.
parking lot, you would see it.
The parking lot property has its own vinyl fence.
Yeah.
Does it really? I didn't even notice. Oh my God.
I think, Sweetwater has a vinyl fence.
Do they have them?
Goody. Okay. All right, so,
One of the things that might
Brendan,
be a
thoughts?
problem for them, although you said they've been talking with zoning, is that with a 100% solid fence, I think it's only allowed to be 25-foot fence in
Yes.
chapter 150, section 35. I
Exactly.
think this would be a type 5 fence, and it looks like in the application it's a little over 31 feet. So as long as they are already in communication, it's not up to us to enforce the length of the fence, but just wanted to make sure that they didn't get caught, further down the process running into an issue.
Yeah, we can reinforce it because I have written down 6 foot tall, and they said they worked with zoning on the height and the width of it. So what did you see written down?
In chapter 150, section 35, I think it specifies a maximum length of 25 feet because it's 100% solid. If it was less than 50% solid, they could make the fence as long as they want.
Okay, so 20 feet, 25. We have to just confirm that it's not 25, less than 25 feet.
I don't
think
it's
it
up to us to
is.
enforce this. It's
Yeah,
not.
per zoning.
I'm just if they were, if
Yep.
they're listening, just wanted to make sure that they were aware of any, pitfalls ahead of time.
Yeah.
Earlier in the process.
I mean, I also shared with them that, like, as a homeowner, like, I actually personally own a vinyl fence as well. Like, and it's not even solid. And it is like the bane of my existence. It is the biggest pain in the butt. I have to power wash it every freaking year. It gets mildew on it. It's disgusting. I
Well, that
hate
would
it.
happen if it was wood.
It breaks.
What happened?
If it's wood, it's like you can put another coat of paint on it. Like, it doesn't look as bad. It doesn't crack.
didn't change their mind.
I mean, she just said that she went to Home Depot. They picked this one out. They thought they looked like this one the best. So
I mean, just looking at Google Earth and, the plantings along the edge of the parking lot there at Sweetwater.
Yeah.
It's mostly evergreens along there, and those are taller than the cars that are parked in the parking lot, which is probably very behind them, so.
cool.
I don't know. It just doesn't seem to. But not much visibility into the property.
Sounds like a plan. Okay, so then I shall make a motion to approve it unless anyone has any other.
I'll second.
Roll call for HPC 263-25. Ms. Sutmeyer,
Yes.
Ms. Ryan,
Yes.
Mr. Geyer,
Yes.
Mr. Hool,
Yes.
and Ms. Marlowe.
Yeah.
Thank you. Motion passed.
Awesome. Okay, minor and ordinary maintenance and repair approvals.
Yeah, so this is weird, but there actually weren't any this month. I was like, wait, I don't have to print them out, but it was a slow month. But yeah, so
Sounds
for that.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, good. So next we have old business. We have the amendments to the Cranberry Historic Village District, and we have updates. We have a huge update. Thanks to Brendan and Liz, and just our plan kind of went in front of a zoning subcommittee group, and we two huge things. First off, remember that the document we kind of were confused about that was like a zoning document. So they are revising that to specifically state like chapter 93, like just stick with chapter 93. And they're going to use their thing for like stuff outside of the historic district.
Okay.
So that's huge. The
That's
other
good.
thing is they're looking at creating some design guidelines for areas that are outside of the historic district but are major thoroughfares for Cranberry. And so I wrote back like, cool, and maybe we are a resource, since we've worked on design guidelines, to work with them and their subcommittee, as you will. So that's huge. And then the big news is that they are drafting the ordinance. And so our buffer zone stuff is, I think, gonna hopefully, we are one step closer to getting rid of the buffer. So thanks to Brendan and chiming in on emails, working with Liz. Liz is great. So yeah, I think we're moving things forward. Any other thoughts, Brendan?
No, you
No.
got it.
Okay, let's see. So we have to wait on so now the ordinance is gonna get drafted, and then we'll just kind of let this go with Liz and Gina, you help shepherd that.
They'll let me know.
Is our part kind of done then, and it has moved on to other?
It's moving, but I think the next big thing for us is we are gonna need to start working on our PDF thingy with the pictures. That document with the details in the pictures, because that document is a reflection of all of our ordinance and our chapter 93.
So that's the design guidelines themselves?
It's the guide of the design guidelines.
The design guideline with photos.
Yeah.
Mm.
Not in the
Design guideline
ordinances.
guides. Yeah.
They're both called design guidelines.
Yeah.
But one has photos and one's the actual code.
And and we talked with Liz about it too, because we kind of stated that submitting that in conjunction with the full ordinance and stuff it's too granular. And this document with the pictures is the interpretation of the bigger thing. So we may need to go into more detail on certain things in that PDF with the pictures that don't need to be written in the big full ordinance. But I think in the meantime, we will need to start working on that and starting to make edits and stuff. And so there's software we can use to kind of start editing that thing and figuring out how we want to update it. And, we want to, a suggestion was made by someone in another HBC in another town that it's great to break it into chapters and put it on the website in chapters so it's easier for people to see what they're looking for. So that'll be a next step project while the ordinance and all that stuff is going through. Any thoughts? Okay. Okay, good. Okay, so next we have CLG grant. I don't think we have any updates. Do we have any updates on the CLG grant?
Not that I've heard.
So we'll table that for next time when Dave's here. Okay, next we have identifying and designating historical sites outside the village district. And so the 1860 farmhouse, we received a letter from the Cranberry Historical and Preservation Society.
Mhm.
Did you guys all have a chance to
Yes.
read it?
Yes.
Okay. So do we have any comments? I think it was sent to us and to Township Committee. I guess it's an opportunity for us to share if we have any comments on this document.
I would just say that the Historic Society is taking this very seriously. And is not prepared to give up on it.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good thing.
We'll see where it goes.
Are they asking us to do anything in support of
I suppose
their
the
efforts?
committee wants to
It seems,
express its support. I think
the
it's-
letter is to both the committee and to
To us, yeah. Well, the call to action at the end is for township committee to take immediate action to enforce the restrictions. And we're an advisory committee to TC,
So could we provide some kind of letter of support to the township committee reinforcing
Yeah.
what the
And
Conservation Commission has?
Well, I think we need to enforce things because if we don't, then
It's just one.
it's
And I believe
people are.
it's very clear in the deed that demolition by neglect is not an excuse.
Yeah,
yeah, what I've taken away from the letter is that it's been quite some time since we had our working session at the library. It's been like over 6 months. And there hasn't, and it says in the letter that there was a formal complaint made in May, and that nothing has happened. And so I think what we might want to, what they're asking for, and what I think we might want to support is taking more speedy actions, because I think that, I mean, actions, we know that there were some tours that happened, but in terms of enforcing the code, we haven't seen or heard anything about that.
Am I correct that HPC has no enforcement capabilities?
It's up to the township committee.
So we advise, yeah, we make the recommendation, and we could write a letter, very simple, that just says, if we support this and
We strongly recommend.
yeah, their call to action is to take immediate action. I think that's the biggest issue, is that things haven't been taken care of in a timely manner.
Do we know when this was written? Because there's no date on it.
Sometime between now and the last.
It was like
our last
in,
meeting.
it was like in the past week, I think.
Yeah.
It's very recent, like the past 2 weeks, yeah.
13th, maybe, when like.
That
it's
sounds
listed in
right.
here in the packet.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think. Definitely very recent.
Do we have any updates from TC on this property?
Not yet.
So, and last month, I believe you had said that there were updates coming a month ago.
There's been conversation. That is essentially our update at the moment. And I'll say, yes, you guys can write a letter in support of that letter. It feels like a letter in support of your previous positions. So understood that both bodies are aligned. So feel free to write another letter.
So as,
Well, I
as,
think since this letter was written, since that last
I mean, I feel like we just,
statement.
it's like Groundhog Day,
I
we're
would-
repeating ourselves over and over and over.
Yes,
again.
but I just think, we are in receipt of a letter addressed to the township committee, and we just reiterate our support for immediate action to be taken, or something
It's a
to that
reminder.
effect. I think that's all we need to do.
Maybe something that's worth calling out is that when we met at the library, one of the things we asked to help us make an informed decision was actually having it surveyed by an architectural historian who could help understand it better than just a structural engineer. And if that's been done, that report hasn't been given to us, so what we said then is still all that we can say now.
But yeah, exactly. And it does, and the topic of this letter is the fact that it's still not being, a complaint was filed about maintenance code. Why are we not enforcing maintenance code on the property?
Right.
Yeah, I backwards me, I don't know. So I think, Rob, as a member of TC, why hasn't this been taken care of? If a complaint's been made, what's our process? Why doesn't town committee, if a complaint gets made, does a complaint just go on the table? And is there a process for addressing these complaints that are made about maintenance codes?
There is, and to my point, it's being discussed, it's actively in discussion, as you certainly know. And more information will be forthcoming. There has been conversations between attorneys, there's things going on. Yes, there will be action shortly.
So define shortly, just so we can follow up.
I cannot define shortly.
Okay. Alrighty. Any other comments or,
Well, I just
Next
have,
steps.
so
sorry?
are we going to write anything?
Yeah, I have written down, I'm gonna just, I'll write a very one-liner.
Yeah, okay.
You know, or
That's fine.
just says,
Something
we received it, we discussed it in HBC,
we agree.
we agree that, you know, if a complaint was filed, it needs to be followed through.
Okay.
And if the inspection by the historic architect is taking place, we'd like to.
Yeah, we're still awaiting the follow-ups that we had from April. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Do we have any updates on, I guess there's the historic Victorian home that's now gonna be, there's, you know, for the affordable housing. And are there any updates that we've heard? I haven't heard of anything. Okay. And then I guess the other thing that Sue and I were talking about too was just when we talk about the Hamlet is as we prep for our CLG grant next year, taking a fresh look at our strategy for that with these, you know, because we have a lot of things going on. We have the farmhouses. We have these, you know, properties that are getting added to the historic district. We have, what else? We have the Hamlet. So
Inside the historic district, some properties that were overlooked in previous surveys or aspects of properties that were overlooked in previous
Exactly.
surveys. And we're almost at 10 years since those first buildings were surveyed, and the recommendations have been surveyed every 10 years. So, there's a lot in the district that needs
needs to
attention.
get redone.
And I believe Mr. Zabo, that was his recommendation, is that should be the focus for the CLG grant next year, is just staying within the historic district and splitting it from the farmhouses. So, and then we had also talked about pushing through the eligibility documents so that he could apply for a CLG grant for the Cranberry Station Hamlet. So we have 3 options to consider for the CLG grant. So what do you guys think? Do you have a preference?
I think we should talk about what having any of those 3 options done allows us to do, like what it enables, what's blocked by not having things surveyed. That would help me decide what's most important for us to do first.
And I think what I could do too is ask, I think Dave has a list of everything. I'd be curious to know about how many properties are in each kind of bucket that we're looking at. Because like, for example, like with the work we were looking at the Hamlet, it's only like
Yeah, a few properties.
3 or 4 houses. You
Right,
know?
that are Cranberry.
Yeah, and then there's some in Monroe. Are we paying for the Monroe ones to be done? So, I mean, it's our application though, so we might need to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, so, you know.
That's true. I think from the state's point of view, they didn't want to do, like the station, for example, they didn't want to do Cranberry without Monroe included.
Yeah.
Correct.
So,
I was voting for farmhouses personally because of recent events and having at least documentation of all of our outlying properties to create kind of a thematic district, at least the documentation, whether it actually becomes a district or not, for future protection.
So what I'll do is, I'll follow up with Dave. I'm gonna ask him how many properties for each bucket, as you will. And, I think if we collect that information, have a think on it, maybe we can try to relook at it next time when Dave's back. Cool?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Do we have any sense of the timing for the CLG grant, like due dates? I know it ended up being April or something this year.
I think you're gonna have any money.
Right.
They haven't sent anything else out since then, so I want to say last time. I'm forgetting what it was. If
I
it was
think
like
it was
the fall,
originally,
they said, but
Oh,
then it was, yeah, it was like something that couldn't have worked.
Are there any other grants we could get other than just putting all of our eggs in CLG?
I had talked to the county, to Middlesex County, about various grants, and the majority of them were matching. And so
Oh, that's
I
right.
was told by the township that is a no-go, so that's a challenge. I think there is a small grant available, so I could look into that with my contact at the county. A
Maybe
smaller
I-
grant in the sense of like maybe like writing a nomination or something like that.
That's
So
why it could maybe help us for one of the projects.
let me see what the current status is, because I told them that story that the township would not, match grants, and he's like, oh, but we had X and Y and stuff, so there was hope. So I'll try to report back next month.
Okay. All right, good. So, all right, if we're ready for our next topic, we have Cranberry Station Hamlet Historic District COE. So we have updates on that, and I actually spent some time this month, that was my 16 hours, I've been doing a lot of thinking about it over the few months, and with everything we've been dealing with this year and everything like that. And it's something that just sort of hit me as we were going through this process, and we submitted our first application several years ago. The state said, oh, we want we want to be more comprehensive, period of significance, and as I was starting to try to put together a narrative, one thing I realized is that we've pretty much, anything agricultural in this area is gone. Like, our town's pretty much, that ship has sailed with that. Our planning board, it's zoned light industrial. We've got warehouse, and then adjacent to it, housing development. So there's not really an agricultural story anymore for the hamlet, unfortunately. And so I started thinking about the narrative for our application, and really, I think our best bet is to just focus in on the railroad.
On the history.
Yeah, the history of the railroad.
I think that's always been,
They were starting to talk about wanting to get very big and comprehensive.
Yeah, they were talking about like the agricultural story of various fields, the retention
Big
ponds.
areas, ponds,
like
like all that stuff. And I mean, the ponds are going to be gone, except for that one little yeah. So,
I think historically, it's certainly significant
Huge.
enough.
there's such a case to keep it. So I spent a lot of time also trying to figure out, because we have to define our area. And so I spent some time on the Google Maps. And I wanted to get your take on this. Yeah, we don't have it. So, yeah, this is what we had originally submitted. If you guys can see this here, where we had just said, here are the four houses in Cranberry. Yeah. So what I was going to suggest is we create the boundaries based on modern streets, because I looked also at the old maps of where the old houses used to be, and a lot of them have been demoed, of course. Because up in that green area, that forest thing, there were houses there. And so I thought we would define it as the area south of Station Road, east of Hightstown Cranberry Station Road, encompassing all of Halsey Reed Road, both sides, and then north of the, what do we call that? A burn? Is it a burn? Tarn? Or a tarn? A tarn.
This time here, where
No, the little lake thing that's there.
I thought it was
I think it's a
retention pond.
pond, or it's like a tarn, retention pond, a man-made pond.
It's a thin, the long, thin one.
Yeah.
And is all this in Cranberry Township?
No.
So as a result, though, it would include the houses on the other side that are in Monroe.
Yeah.
And I counted like three, maybe four. I was having trouble figuring out if one of the properties was two addresses owned by the same family or if it was two separate families. So we have to research that. So I guess my question for you guys, does this make sense? The other thing that really hit me was when I was looking at the preliminary application is it stated that they asked if we own the property, and they said you don't have to own it, but they asked us in the application to submit who owns the property. So we will have to list the names of the owners. And then it said that if a property owner is objecting to it, it may not be listed. And that is different than what the state representatives had told us. However, it makes me think that it would not be a good idea to go out here into this area where we have the fluorescent pond and the old Chamberlain and Barclay property. I think if we just go for that one sliver that includes the depot and the rail line, we have a chance of having support from the owners and or at least like not objectified from the owners. And I don't know how to handle the owners of the rail line, the Conrail people. Like I don't even have a contact. You're gonna have to list the names and the owner name and the application somehow, which I don't know.
I have a contact at the New Jersey, well, she works at the New Jersey Historic Preservation Office, but she's the New Jersey Transit representative for historic properties.
Oh, really?
So she's not Conrail, because Conrail's private, but she might
know someone who would be in contact.
And had we, several years ago, you'd been looking into the Rails for Trails. Did we ever make any contacts?
We have contacts with them, but they're
Oh,
totally
not the Rails for
separate.
Trails people, but like for the actual owner of the line. It's just the Rails
No,
for
just
Trails
from the tax map. And the problem too is now the tax records are now hidden, remember? Like you're not allowed anymore to look up who owns property on the internet.
You can't.
There are ways.
It's private now.
Public
No.
records?
The county has a website that you can look at it, so that would include Monroe. You can-
Really?
Yeah.
So I would, not the main, like, I have to go with the individual county website.
Yeah,
So
well,
like
actually, I just mean Middlesex County has one. I don't know about the other counties.
Yeah, well, both Monroe and Cranberry are Middlesex. Is there anyone who's really good at like researching and helping me figure out like,
I can-
yeah. Because not only,
Do we actually need to notify the property owners, or do we just need to list the property?
I think we don't have to notify, I think it would be right to notify them. I know that
I think as it gets further along.
as it gets
Yes,
further
this is
along,
Just preliminary, and to have them say yes. first.
yeah. And I think they kind of already know, like, I mean, except the only people are those rail line people. But at the same time, this rail line is already SHPO opinioned as a historic district. So,
That's what I was wondering. So their address might be listed in that.
it's from 1981.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Lindsay from the state could even find the original application. Yeah.
The man-made pond, I forget the term used for that.
Tarn.
Is that on the property where they're building a large warehouse?
Yes, except I remember when we were going through that process, they agreed to save it.
Okay.
So they're not building on it.
Do we, what would be the justification we give for including the pond or not including the pond in the district? Like, in what way does it help make the district stronger?
I don't have a firm opinion for or against. Like, I mean, I just trying to give it as much like acreage, I guess, would be the goal. But I can't think of the pond being, it has nothing to support the narrative of the railroad line. Because it came, I think, after the railroad line.
Okay. I mean, it might be stronger than to not include
We
it.
think we will do it right up to the end of the property where the, that warehouse is, the owners are. It would just make it,
Possibly.
we could, yeah. What do you guys think? Do you think it would be better for us to do it that way?
Sure.
Seems like it.
Yeah, the pond's not really significant.
I mean, I don't think they're gonna build on it, on the pond, because of that, yeah, I don't think that's happening. So I don't know if they'll ever, I don't know if we need to protect it from themselves trying to build on it in the future. That's the only other thing.
Well, the state and national listings is really just protecting from the government, not really inhibiting private owners.
There's not that much protection.
I know. But it's still something. So, but,
The pond be, qualified as wetland or?
that's what I was just gonna say, like, I remember the reason why they saved it was because of the environmental.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Both, environmental cleanup too, it's probably done all sorts of crap.
I think if we, maybe if we can simplify it, because then it's just one less owner too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. I have to, I think I need to figure out, what I need to figure out is what is the tax, where do we see a picture of the tax maps on the Cranberry site? How do we get that? And then,
Like the township tax maps?
yeah, so you can see the lots that everybody owns. Like a
They're just
clean
on-
PDF of it.
They're just on the website. I can send it to you if you
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And then we have to find the one for Monroe, I think.
probably on their town website too.
Yeah.
To do that research, what I actually prefer using, there's a map from the state that has all the parcel boundaries. You can click it to block and lot
Yeah.
that way. So rather than like trying to zoom in on the Cranberry tax maps, we can just go to that area,
It'll show
state,
Cranberry.
yeah, it'll show both towns. So
Do you
just,
have that? You know where that is?
not in my head, but Yeah.
You think you know it exists?
yeah.
Okay. Yay. Okay. All right, cool. Thank you. And then the other thing too is that Sue has a connection that might be able to help us with like articulating this, because they, in the application, they write it a certain way, and I'm not an expert in how to write like the articulation of the boundaries and the support for it. So we might try to tap her expertise as well. But I think it's good that we are all aligned on kind of like where we're looking, which is, again, I think it's a very small area, but it's going to be important that we save it for the, like, and preserve it for the railroad story.
Can I want to understand better the existing railroad, is it an opinion or a designation or like
With a
what's
shipper
already?
opinion going all the way from New Brunswick to
So
Canada.
the opinion is that if someone were to do the work, it would be eligible, but it's not
And
actually.
I believe
As a rail trail.
Is it-
even though, there's that question about ownership,
Yeah.
right, of property ownership, I think there is a percentage of the owners that need to agree to the nomination. And I think there's so many parties that that's really.
Yeah, I think that's why they didn't do it. Yeah. But the good news is there's tons of research. The other thing we're going to do is I started collecting like a ton of different research, just different articles. There's like chapters of books online that I found with bibliographies from other people, referencing other people. So like there's a burden of evidence out there that we can use to submit. And I think if we narrow the focus on railroad and explain our rationale why, and I spent a lot of time crafting the language around the threat to the area, describing how, the zoning areas around it has led it to kind of be getting pushed in the way it is, then, I think it makes it really strong. So, as a next step, I think we'll we'll work on getting these maps together. Soon we're gonna have a working session. And then we should be able to get a draft over to all of you guys to look at. So. Cool.
Great.
Next item, Revolution New Jersey. Updates? Bobby, Revolution New Jersey?
I don't know what's next. So.
How was the graveyard?
It was very.
Was there a volunteer who was?
I thought it went very well.
You went?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I think we need to do it every year.
Oh.
It was great.
Was it well attended?
Yeah, it was a good crowd.
Wow.
I mean, the weather was,
It was fun.
it was fine. But not perfect, but fine. For the ghostly mood,
Yeah.
you know. It wasn't sunny and hot. It
It
was
doesn't
a
bother me.
little more ominous stuff. Some very scattered rain.
Perfect.
Sounds ideal.
Yeah.
So we haven't heard anything about anything else that they're
What the
planning.
next plan, no, I don't know yet.
Okay, next we have public outreach. And I do not have any updates on public outreach. I have a question. Did anyone see our CHIPS versus HBC flyer in the mayor's email? Did anyone see it? Okay, I'm gonna put in another request because I put in a request and then I was looking at the mayor's email, I didn't see it in there. So either my request didn't go through or we need to do it again. But I'll repost it or request it as you will.
I can pick that up too.
That'd be great. Okay. Other business, town hall doors.
Wait. We were going to ask our student
Oh, yes.
liaison if she had looked at the interactive map.
Oh, yeah.
If you had any comments.
Interactive map. And that's like,
It was really good, but the only comment I would say is that I feel like, because to find it, I like looked on the HBC website and then it brought me to like a flyer, and then I found like, I think that he made it like more accessible on the website, and easier for more people to look at it. Because I was a bit confused on how to get there to get it.
I feel like our entire website is just so bad. Like, I don't even know where to begin. Like,
I do know where to begin on that. I've never been through this process with other websites. You first got to figure out what's on the website now. How is it organized? List out, like kind of build a map of what's there now. Then figure out what of that is the most important and which of that is so not important it shouldn't even be up there anymore. And then figure out how to reorganize it based on what we figured out is up there now. Yeah, I think the website has ended up the way it is because things get added one at a time over many years, and it could use a whole scale, reorganization. Yeah.
Is that even a possibility, Gina? I'm thinking no.
Well, our finance guy does the website. So I don't know in terms of like rearranging the actual layout and things like that. Probably unlikely. But in terms of like editing what's on there, I'm sure it's possible.
Yeah, I don't think we have to change the design. Like the design's the township's design. It's just like what's on each page, and in what order do we link to the pages, and how do we group things?
How do you click through things?
Yeah.
What's up front, what's over here?
What is a web page versus what is a flyer, a PDF that is linked to from the page? Like those sorts of decisions I think we could do better on. Would be the first step would be figuring out what's up there now.
Does anyone have an appetite for? I think this would be a good project for like next year, like as a goal, maybe. What do you guys think? Yeah.
Sure.
Sounds right.
Share. Emily, do you have any interest in this, in working on this project, maybe with a committee member? You do?
Yeah.
If you don't, just please say, I'm not gonna hold it against you. Like, because this is for you as well, like this, you know, we're not just gonna give you a project we all can't figure out.
I can definitely give suggestions. I will say I'm not very good with coding stuff.
Yeah, we're not gonna be.
It's fine.
No, we won't be doing that.
I mean, if you're familiar with a lot of websites, I think then you might be helpful. It might be helpful, like to have your insight. So, okay. So maybe committee, you guys, like, let's think about who might have time next year, or even at the beginning of end of this year, to start, you know, thinking about this. Like, you know, what's our goal with the website? What are people coming there for? What are they coming to do? What are they coming there to learn? When you go to the website, what's the first thing you see? Is the first thing you see the most important thing? And then how can we work within the framework we have, not the design, but like the links and stuff to fix it, make it easy, a little more customer friendly.
If it's something that we can do in the new year, I would be willing to participate. Lead the effort, but I'll be happy to participate.
I can probably help, next year, but I'll probably be able to help
And Brenda,
significantly.
three of us.
Three
Take
minutes, perfect. Love it. Okay, cool. Awesome. Right, great. Any other comments on public outreach?
And any updates on the librarian, on maternity leave?
I found out she's back.
Okay.
And I think I had sent her an email, but she didn't email me back, so I have to follow up with her. But I did find out she is back. She's back about a few weeks ago. So I am going to call her. Okay, cool. Other business, town hall doors. So we received, okay, let's start here. So we received a letter, and the letter ended, I'll start with what the letter ended with. It said, if HBC has further suggestions, we'd be happy to entertain them about the doors. And so Sue had a great idea. We found some old pictures of the doors before they were removed, and I got to assume thrown away. And what we were going to talk about is, you know, what would be would we have any suggestions for TC? Since it said in the letter they are open to it. Although if any alteration to the door itself affects the integrity of the doors and their warranties. So I'm not a door expert.
I know. So we could have molding applied to the door to kind of mimic the lower panel of the original design.
Mhm.
The glass light is not exactly the same proportion, but
Yeah.
but it's okay. We could have a panel, that somewhat mimics the old doors with applied molding. You'd have to attach it with adhesive
Right.
because you can't do any mechanical fastening, because any mechanical fastening would definitely
Void the warranty.
as the attorney said, void the warranty. But something, there are moldings available at Home Depot that have double stick tape on them. You can peel the tape off and stick it off. That's probably not the right solution because it's like exterior application, but we could do an application like that to at least mimic the design.
So I don't think we can dimension it precisely, because
No,
this is
because
the
the-
extent of documentation.
Yeah, the glass lights on the new doors are not the same proportion.
So I'm thinking that maybe that middle rail that is directly below the glazing. that historically, that general height of that middle rail,
I mean,
should be the same, and that way the panel can
Yeah.
absorb the
Yeah, I think
change.
Mr. Christopher should see this.
I mean, it could be, obviously the width of the glass,
Right.
and then the middle dimension could be whatever works with the hardware, and then the lower dimension could be something similar to what's here, or, this is pretty close to a square, so you could almost just say, okay, let's make it a square, position it.
I'm concerned that if the glazing is shorter?
I think it's shorter than.
It's shorter, that if we make it square, we're gonna have like a
A
really
lot.
huge middle rail. So that's why I'm thinking if we try to keep that middle rail kind of dimension, so this is challenging.
I could take a photo of the new doors, not tonight when it's dark, but sometime when it's not dark, and just sketch out
Okay.
a layout that would sort of mimic this, if that's
That sounds good.
appropriate. So I'll do that.
I also had a chance to talk with Dave a little bit about the letter, and he provided me with some of his thoughts about it, as well as he shared that the firehouse, they replaced their door and they have done something kind of with the paneling similar. That it's a more modern door, but they, kept the historic integrity going.
At the firehouse?
At the firehouse.
I'll take a look at that.
Yeah, so it might be something to look at, and I don't know who they worked with, because that's not really our job to figure that stuff out, but there are people, I guess. I don't know if it was embedded in their door or if they attached it, but he said he saw it because he
I'll
walks
take
that way.
I'll take a look.
So, township liaison, if we were to supply a sketch of trim that would be applied adhesively and not mechanically, is that something you think that the township would consider?
I don't see why not.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, great.
All right, good. Any other comments regarding the letter itself that we received?
I'll be nice.
No comments? Okay. All right, I prepared some comments.
I'm sorry, I have a comment.
Yeah.
So I will say that I just want to point out that the town hall building, the old Cranberry School building, is Cranberry Township's only individually registered building in the whole town that's on the National Register. So front doors do have significance. It's in the ranking. It's our most significant historic building according to the National Register. So that's something to consider.
I mean, I'll jump in. So, I mean, I don't think, I certainly don't have any question that doors need to be replaced. That's not the
We
issue.
brought it up in January.
And I just think that it would have been nice if we had been, consulted with before a decision was made what kind of door to put in its place, and theoretically through an application. What was the other thing I wanted to say? Oh, I don't understand the word instrumentality of the municipal government, so if that's an incorrect. The HPC is an instrumentality of the municipal government.
It's a very common word used
Is
at
that correct?
Rutgers. Rutgers is an instrumentality of the state, so it's a very familiar word to me.
Okay,
What it
I
exactly
never heard of it
means.
before. I mean, instruments of the municipal government, I can understand that. So anyway, this is my only question. But
Yeah, so do we know what that means, instrumentality?
I just have to say, I
I
feel
saw
like,
subordinate body, sorry.
I would
I
guess,
feel like though that it says as supporting body cannot dictate the governing body. I agree, but we should be on the same team with the whole idea of restoring and keeping the look of, as you say, the nationally recognized building. That's all I have to say. We should be on the same team.
so the definition, instrumentality as a noun is the fact or quality of serving as an instrument or means to an end. Agency, a thing that serves as an instrument or means to an end.
So
It's a
instrument,
noun,
synonymous.
synonymous with instrument.
I'm still scratching my head too about where it says it cannot dictate how a government body spends public money. I'm trying to understand, when did we say that they needed to spend public money a certain way? Have we ever? I think the only time our committee's ever spent money was when we did the street sign project.
And we certainly didn't dictate anything.
We sure didn't. Nope.
I'll take a minute to provide context to the drawing that I passed around. In 1964, when the school board planned to demolish this building, where Cranberry residents responded by creating the Save the Old School Committee and filed a lawsuit against the Board of Education. Along with the Cranberry Historical and Preservation Society, the Save the Old School Committee achieved state and federal recognition of this building when it was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1971. As you said, these efforts predate any of the Cranberry Village Historic District, which this building is now part of. In the hallway, outside this room, hangs a Cranberry Township resolution adopted in 2012, thanking the members of the Save the Old School Committee. One of the 14 residents commended in that resolution, Clara Allen, was a talented artist, and she drew this building years ago, hence the initials CA in the bottom right. As you can see in Clara's drawing, the door panels are prominent. So, we're not just making a big deal out of nothing. This is something, the building is very important to this town, and that was part of what this town fought to save.
Any other comments? Okay, I saved my comments just because I wanted to hear what everybody had to say. But I did prepare a statement because I spent a lot of time reflecting after our last meeting, as well as this communication that followed. And I'll start by just saying that I do not believe that individuals working within or on behalf of our town are exempt from the rules that are established by our township. Township Ordinance 010602 applies to any property located within the historic district or on a designated historic site. Town Hall is in our historic district and listed as a National Historic Site. So it deserves proper oversight. No individuals or entities should behave that they have more power than this ordinance. Our commission followed standard procedure in notifying the township administration that a retroactive application was required. The routine steps should not have caused resistance, especially given that township staff and administrators are responsible for handling administrative matters. Instead, this matter was escalated and taxpayer funds were used to involve legal counsel in drafting a letter to this committee. This letter contradicted our ordinance. It did not address the fact that we have an emergency application process. It misrepresented our role in this public budget discussions and decisions. And it contained language that, in my opinion, belittled the committee and the volunteers who worked tirelessly to support our community. To further prevent misuse of resources, I am not going to respond to this letter that was sent by the township attorney on this matter. However, the individuals who engaged the legal counsel over this matter, owe our committee an apology for their unnecessarily intimidating actions. Looking ahead, I hope that township leadership will respect the role of the HPC. They'll consult with our committee on decisions that affect historic properties and leverage our expertise to strengthen and preserve the character of our community. Together, we can ensure that Town Hall and other historic sites are properly cared for and celebrated.
Good timing, right at the bell.
Okay, any, ready to move on to the next topic?
Yeah.
Okay, commission training. Any updates?
Yeah, I went to a Preservation NJ in partnership with CHIPS, hosted a workshop titled Homeowner's Guide to the Historic Preservation Materials.
Oh, the one at the museum?
It was right here.
Oh, you guys are, I was
September
away.
20th.
That's so good.
It was presented by architect Margaret Hickey. And I would say that particularly relevant to some of our efforts, she identified the recently released historic design guidelines for Glen Ridge as an excellent example of what design guidelines can be. So when we were talking before about how we have two things called design guidelines, those would be the one.
Yeah,
of the
we
photos
looked at that
that
one.
they're-
Yeah,
they're-
that's our best
Glen
practice.
Ridge is a good one to look at. One of the things that came up was that linseed oil is a good way to maintain cedar shakes. And so I'm wondering if the township has a maintenance plan for the new roof on the Village Park pavilions so that they just doesn't disintegrate. And then I'd say that the overwhelming feedback from the audience was that homeowners want help identifying contractors with the experience and skills to work on historic buildings. There's not an easy answer to that, but I know that that's what homeowners are looking for.
I don't think that we are allowed to recommend contractors, right? So it's not, maybe CHIPS can do it.
Yeah, chips. Yeah, I had someone reach out to me and I ordered them on chips.
That's the right place. for it.
Yeah. But I can send a note over to Parks and Rec about linseed oil and just kind of say that we learned about this and that it might be good for their maintenance plan of the new roof. Cool. Okay, cool. Any other training notes? Okay, new homeowner letters.
Yeah, no new homeowner letters this month. And then I don't know if you want to do the meeting dates.
Let's do the meeting.
So it's just the column on the right that's highlighted. It's pretty much just the third Tuesday of every month still, except for November because of League of Municipalities. So it's pretty much all the same. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss any like holidays that would affect multiple people or anything like that. But I think I was okay with these ones. So just let me know.
Yeah, I think we're good.
It should be fine.
Thank you. Okay, next we have our minutes. So Dave isn't here, so we have to.
He said
Yeah.
he said he said.
He already did.
Yeah, it's already. Can I ask about salvaging components of the existing house?
Yeah, that I don't remember stating that. But it was it was a whole month ago. But that was something we were talking about doing. So I will follow up on that.
Yeah.
Because I promised to do that. So I
And
will
this is salvaging.
own it.
So 1270
Yeah, the Victoria.
South River Road.
Mhm. I will follow up on that. Okay. Ooh, the award.
We can talk about that after we
We
approve.
gotta follow that too. Follow up on that.
May I make a motion to approve the minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Second,
Okay, roll call for the September 16th minutes. Ms. Sutler,
Yes.
Ms. Ryan,
Yes.
Mr. Dyer,
yes.
Mr. Wool,
Yes.
and Ms. Marlowe.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, motion passed.
All right.
So we
Public
were,
comment.
wait, we were gonna talk about the renovation award. Does anyone have any further thoughts about?
That's right.
The award? I don't.
I don't. You know what I'm gonna need? I think I need to
Okay.
send us all like a little like reminder email mid meeting so we all think about it again. And maybe we research too, like see what other folks have done in terms of how they evaluate and ask questions.
Yeah.
So we do a end of year list, right, that Gina compiles of all our applications for the year and such, so maybe that's a tool that we can use at least to be looking at potential awardees. But the how is what we still need to figure out.
Right, let's have a think on that again and maybe Brielle will dig into it next month. We got a little distracted this month, but we'll get back on track. Okay, cool. Good. So public comment. Any public comment? None? Okay. Discussion. Anything else you'd like to discuss? All right, I'm gonna
Let me just ask you a quick question.
Yes.
Did I misunderstand you before when you said that we no longer had access to the homeowner's names of the property?
Yeah, I my
Well,
understanding.
that's not true. I mean, I just checked the head. And if you look in public records, it's still there.
Okay. I had heard that it was all, like for privacy reasons, it was all hidden. And then I remember for last year for the Wassel, I had a lot of trouble when I was trying to figure out who owned certain,
Well, it hasn't, if that's the case,
it's not been
hasn't
implemented.
Yes.
Okay,
My understanding was that it was for government, the associated like officials, because it was based on that judge in South Brunswick who had an incident at her home, and that it may not be for everyone.
And in
Maybe
response to
that's-
that, some websites took down everything because it was easier to just take down the website than to filter out whose information would be protected.
that might be why I had
I mean,
trouble
just
finding
look you look in public records, it's there.
public records.
So the one that I found most helpful is the county one. That was one when I was working with the state office on some of our things that they clued me into that. So that's very much on it. And if it was Cranberry specific, you can actually go to the where you pay your taxes.
Tax it, the tax
Just
sale,
search that.
but I've been in
For
there.
It's all out of public records.
Okay. Cool. Any other comments before we adjourn? Discussion? Okay. All right, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Sure.
This was our fastest meeting ever. We were so